Okay, we're here at OAX with comic book legend Bob Layton.
The second annual OAX.
The second annual OAX.
That's right.
Were you at the first one?
Yeah, of course I was.
All right, so
because you don't watch the show. Shame on you. You know that I podcast from here, right? Myself. I'm doing your damn podcast. You don't watch mine?
That's awesome. I follow you on socials, but I did not know.
No, yeah, I have a show called Where in the World is Bob Layton? It's me traveling around the world. And when I'm here at OAX, I do a show called WTF, where I interview my fellow professionals and embarrass the hell out of them.
Excellent. So how has this show compared to last year's?
I embarrassed a lot more professionals this year.
Can you share one of the I guess,
well,
not
Dennis
too
Cowan would be a prime example. Okay, Dennis Cowan, who is my brother from another mother. He's the only person I ever shared an apartment with during my salad days at Marvel. We shared an apartment in Queens. And I started out the interview by saying, since I am the only person here who's seen you naked, it gets worse from there. But my point being is, I know I got the dirt on everybody. So that's what I do is I try to come up with one question that throws them off guard and makes everybody laugh. So you'll see the show next Thursday. It'll be out next Thursday, and it's called WTF. It'll be the second episode of that. Normally, whenever I travel, I'm on the CAF live show, and my segment, Where in the World is Bob Layton?
All right, great. So for those of us who are catching up for the first time, make sure you check out that show. Absolutely.
Right. There's 50 some odd episodes already on YouTube.
Perfect.
All right. For me, all over the world, eating some of the weirdest shit you've ever seen.
Excellent. So, Iron Man, what does Iron Man mean to you after working on it for so long and being so impactful for that character?
Well, that I could take an hour to answer that, right?
Right.
But since we don't have an hour, I can say it's a two-edged sword. I mean, obviously, it's frustrating that I don't get enough credit in the real world for what I contributed to the lexicon of the character. But at the same time, most of the people in Hollywood know where that came from, and around the world they know where that came from, right? Because it's just, and the people that were involved who are, I would say, nice guys like Hawk Osby, the writer of the film, or David Maisel, the founder of Marvel Studios, they are very quick to credit me, in terms of the inspiration for these films, or Ant-Man. So wherever I go around the world, as soon as people kind of get past that educational point, it's been wonderful. It's a kind of goodwill you can't buy, Steve. So it's really been good. And the fact that I ever see it, especially Ant-Man, did I ever see it becoming a global phenomenon? It was like 2 issues of Marvel premiere done in 1979. It's like, I'm surprised there are even copies available. So it's astounding in a lot of ways. I'm enjoying my retirement by kind of coasting on that mountain, sliding down it, going back up, sliding down it, it's fun for the most part. Obviously, there are things I wish had gone differently, but at the end of it, I'm grateful because most creators go through their entire career not associated with any specific character. Well, I'm associated with 4 or 5, so I'm very grateful for that. Now, if they only make an Exo movie.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
That would be totally great. And I remember as a kid, it was the Hercules miniseries. I totally enjoyed that from you. And
yeah, everybody went nuts at the end of Thor: Love and Thunder because they thought Herc's coming, right?
Yeah.
And actually, with Guardians of the Galaxy being over, it's a perfect thing because Guardians was my Herc pretty much, right? Even Kevin Feige kind of said that, it was like done in, because he's a big Hercules fan. I would love to see that, but it wouldn't be done the way, I did it. It's like, because that's going back in 45 years too. But that hit at the right time, you think about it, because at that given moment, I just finished doing Demon in a Bottle, right? Frank Miller just killed Elektra, right? John Byrne and Chris Claremont just killed Phoenix, right? And it's like the Marvel universe was more adult, but man, was it depressing. And I wanted to do something that was just, to use an expression, effing stupid. All right. So I wanted to do something that just kind of stuck my tongue in the cheek in the whole Marvel universe and not take itself too seriously. I didn't expect it to resonate the way it did. I thought I would do 4 issues and we'd be done, but it's pretty much followed me through my whole career. You know?
It was pretty good. And I have to say that as a kid, your inking style was like unbelievable. And just the way that you would like render Iron Man's armor and how clean your style was.
I was the first guy to make it look like metal.
Absolutely, right?
Exactly.
As opposed to like some sort of terry cloth or something.
Yeah, I know. They used to make the boots like have cuffs that, and stuff like that, like they were Buccaneer boots or something. It used to drive me nuts, even as a kid, because I grew up reading Arthurian legends, and knights in armor were something really important to me. And why wasn't he shiny? You know? So when I finally got my hands on it, it was a matter of not just visually changing it, but as a kid, I wanted to be Tony Stark. I didn't want to be Iron Man. I thought that was a more attainable goal.
For sure.
To be the coolest guy in the room with all the money, all the girls, and all the toys, right?
Yeah.
What guy doesn't want to be that, right?
Absolutely.
In Korea, we call that tribble. Tribble is the captain of industry. Every woman wants to marry, every guy wants to be him. That's why Tony Stark resonates so much in the Asian world, because he's tribble.
Right. And so you mentioned South Korea. That's where you're located now.
I have been living there for about the last almost 2 years.
Okay. And how do you see the how they consume pop culture and things like comic books? How is that different from being here in North America?
Obviously, comic books there are all webtoons, pretty much. They have a good business model though, because with a webtoon, you run it on a site, right? A site that a provider site. And if your webtoon is popular enough, then you can get sponsorship. So that's how you make money. Then if it's really popular, what they do is they wait till you're done, and then they publish it as a book. Kind of the opposite of what we do now, right? We publish it as a book and then put it online and hope somebody, and it seems to be a working model for most of the Asian countries there. Webtoons, I think, is the future because it eliminates the overhead that's so costly to doing comics. And if it is successful enough, then we publish it as a book. Infinitely makes more sense. We've been operating with the same business model for 75 years. And nobody, look at me, nobody's going to pay $7 for a pamphlet. All right? This little pamphlet, no one's paying $7 for this. That's the tipping point, So things have to change, and as you know, circumstances just happened in the last week or so that kind of back me up, but I've been preaching this for 15 years. One of the reasons I got out of comics was I did not see it as a profitable future for me, Not that it can't be, but I'm not the guy to do it. I did my part. I'm done. I did everything I could to contribute to this business.
And we're eternally thankful for that.
Thank you, Steve.
All right. It was a pleasure talking to you.
It's always a pleasure talking.